Coming to you live from sunny Arizona. The Steve Rude Show is now live.
Okay, people, guess who I am, in case you don't know. I'm an entity born on Earth, some would argue, year of the blowhard, as I recall. 1956 was a good year. That 56 was the year that, well, I was born then, New Year's Eve. That's when Elvis was just doing his debut in the Memphis region for his first couple concerts, and that's really what kind of determined the whole thing as far as the Elvis mania that took place. And then, of course, things changed over the years. That's our 1,000 computers working in the background, in case you're wondering there. We have a whole slew of computer banks here that do one thing, try to make me look good. Yeah, so as things have it in life, as you guys know, things replace things. The public is always big on the next big thing. In fact, I remember talking to Bill Liebowitz, now passed, who ran the Golden Apple Shop. His sons have taken over now, but when Bill was alive, I said, Bill, what's this all about? What makes people buy what they buy in the comic book shops? He goes, well, Steve, it's about the next big thing. So since there's always the next big thing coming up, people continually cycle into the next big thing. With Nexus, created by Mike Barron and myself, we never had a big audience. We had what was called a loyal audience. Still no girls, but we're working on that. We began Nexus in 1981, and I was 24. Barron was probably 30, maybe by then. Barron was the hippie age, and he reflected a lot of the hippie mannerisms of the time, but he was still his own person. He never grew his hair long or anything like that, and protested at the Capitol and threw rocks at professors, or bombed buildings like they did back in Berkeley. But we got a lot to get around to. We got a lot to get around to today. Some pretty cool stuff. You guys have been hearing about the how to draw the Steve Rude way. Well, I've been working feverishly on that. And I have a lot of stuff to show you that I've been working on. Some of it may be able to make it up on screen in time. We got to download these at the last minute. Otherwise, I'm just going to show you what we got. The first thing I want to show you is we're selling prints. This is the print. We want you to buy it. I think it's $20. It's going to help us out a lot, as all these things do when you contribute your hard-earned cash, clams, greenbacks, whatever. By the way, what do you think I'm calling this one right here? Because they did have a pretty silly name that other people gave it, but I'm going to change it to something specific and a little bit of funny thrown in. I'm going to call it Nexus in Charge. Get it? Of course you do. Okay, so we're going to put this aside, but this print is available from your local dude store, which is us. What else do we have here? Something about the thing I just showed you. This week's print of the week is called Nexus in Charge. And it's yours for just $19.99. I love it when they do that. With a huge stock of prints, we wanted to offer a little something special. Now get it before it's gone. Boy, I sure didn't write that. So go to www.steverude.com for that. Community announcements. I'm going to show you what I'm reading from here. Nexus Return to Earth. That's the book I'm working on, and I'm going to have pages to show you later on that you haven't seen since last week. So I've been very, very productive here. A special preview book will be launching on BackerKit September 9th. September 9th. It includes a full script and all the black and white art done so far, which is a lot. I'm cranking through this stuff. It's quite bizarre. Join the pre-launch for exclusive rewards. steverude.com/RTE. You guys all know what that means, right? Maybe I'm the only one who doesn't, but I know you guys do. Steve Rude's How to Draw book. That's me, and we're going to do a How to Draw book. We're glad to see everyone's interest in the book. That's very true. You guys are really up in getting into this thing. So we hope to finish it in the next couple weeks. Really? They're telling me that, huh? So you can pre-order it online at, well, here we go again, steverude.com/howtodraw2025, which I believe is the current year on Earth. The first draft, was 100 into it. We expanded it, and we've added at least 20 more pages to make this book truly worthy of being printed, which is something that is important. The more information I put in there, the more I can pass on what I've learned to you guys. Patreon members, welcome new members. Do we have a drum roll for that, Super? Yeah, okay, so there you go. That's what our computer banks do for what we paid here. New $25 member, Paul Dobbins. Okay, new free members, Wolfman Frank. I wonder where he's from. Anthony. Let me look at this carefully. I'm usually a pretty good pronouncer. Cassiopo. Okay, good. Capioko. And Denzel. Okay, what foreign countries are these guys from? Like it matters, right? M-U-K. M-U-P, F-E-K-A, F-E-K-I. We can talk. We're keeping the full Nexus pages, scripts, and letterings over at our Patreon site. And naturally, this is a way to support the work and see everything as it comes together. Right now, folks can try it free for a week. And you can, if you join before July 28th, you get the first month, the half month free. Or the month half off. One or the other. Letters are going to be postponed till a little bit later here. You guys have seen the Loomis books? Of course you have. Everyone knows about Loomis because I've been talking about him ever since I got into the field in 1981, which is a very good year. That in 1956. Loomis worked on Coquille board. And I happen to have a lot of extra stock of that, so I decided, well, I want this to look comparable, which naturally is impossible, but I'm going to try my hardest. And here's the ones that I've done here, starting with this one right here. This is on Coquille board, and these are going to be some of the male physique lessons that I'm including in the book. So you haven't seen any of these yet here. I'm also blessed with good photo reference that I'm pulling out of my files so you can see how I use it and how I change it too to make it look better. There's a lot of distortion in photographs. You have to compensate for that. So we're going to set this one down here. If you're interested in how they start, this is what they look like when they start, basically in outline form. And again, good reference right here for my model that I know is the kid actually. And so with this reference, this is what I use it for. This will be fully toned in with pencil when I can get around it. Here's some more of the ones that are going to be in the book. These are all the things that I'm offering as drawings, as lessons, which I'll expound upon when I start actually writing the text for the book. And I'll explain all this stuff and why it might be valuable. Here's some more stuff right here. Also on Coquille board. Cool, huh? These drawings were fun. I had a blast doing these. Here's another one, two females. This one I completely changed the physique on her to make her look pretty, but she was it was some good photo reference that I had lying around from actually 2005. God, how time flies. Cowgirl. Does everyone know Cowgirl? She was a beautiful model. This was back also, way back when, that I had a shot of her that I was intending to use as something for my fine art career, which I smartly bowed out of as quickly as I could to preserve my sanity. But this is from a photograph of this girl right here. A little thing that I added to be funny. And so that's the way that turned out. That's on just a regular Bristol board right here. A couple more, and then we'll let it go. The back. Okay, we're going to talk about the back. So hopefully I'm kind of trying to model my thing after the Loomis books as much as I can. Two physiques right here. This is based on Steve Reeves. Anyone who doesn't know him should go to the back of the class. Big bodybuilder, started in Hercules movies in the 1950s. This is him, and I thought, well, average guys don't look like that, so let's make an average guy who's very muscular drawn here. So there's a comparison thing going on there. We're really big on comparisons. The rest of this stuff can be moved out of the way here. I've got so much more to work on here, and it's a blast, really. I'm having so much fun with this stuff. For those of you who are wondering what my spare time is involved in, you see this, this Snow White BG here, background as we call it. BG in the business, we call it. So this is a watercolor that they used. What's with my voice here? This is a watercolor augmented with opaque watercolor, which is gouache. And I saw this and I thought, wouldn't it be fun to try to copy that? So I'm going to try to copy that. So I've got it all penciled out on some nice Bristol board, and I can't wait to try it. But it's got to be done in my free time because real work is pressing at all times, right? Loomis is done there. Let's put away Loomis. Let's put away the photo reference. Boy, we got to keep this area. There's so much stuff to get around to here. Snow White, let's move her aside. Okay, you see this page right here? I just got done doing this right here. And we're going to show you the first very rough pencil outline work. And then from there, we're going to show you a modified version where I tighten it up a little bit. And then this is the version that we're going to be showing today because you guys wanted to see more of how I ink stuff. So this is going to be, this panel is going to be completed in ink sometime today. Last week I was promising to finish Mona being here, but apparently the most popular painting in history is going to take a backseat to comic book inking. But we'll finish Mona eventually. She did call out to me and beg to be painted in watercolor because I don't think anyone's done that. But of course at Dude Central we do other things. We do all the things that people don't do anywhere else. So are we able to show this right here in the two different versions here?
Yes, I did.
Okay, good. Mr. Producer just assured us that we have both of the previous incarnations of this right here before I finalize this version right here. Now I've got a lot of the outline stuff done here, but I saved the two main figures so you guys can watch how I do it. So hopefully that's entertaining to you guys. The page is up until now. Good thing I labeled these here. Well, I'm not going to tell you the rest of this because I'm going to give it away. But we are going to start inking right here. This panel right here. Now, you guys know that I always do these little black and white thumbnails to spot the blacks. This is a critical thing here. You put in too much, you suffocate the page. You put in too little, and you don't get any drama. But if it's a light scene in the sunlight, don't put a lot of blacks in there. So I had another Mr. Producer, one of many, print me out a page of this panel right here. And very quickly with a marker, I just kind of scratched in a couple prominent black spots to show where I want these blacks to go. And this is going to take place in real time right now. So I think we're all set up here to do the inking right here. I've got my little area right here. Which I better not knock over or I'll be really pissed. And we've got two brushes right here. These are both, they should be low color nails, but they're not because they stopped making them. This is a KINGART brush right here. This is number 8 and number 10. Okay, these are the size that I work with. I don't ink with anything smaller than this, and I can ink with this just as easily right here. As long as they come to a point, you're fine. I also use these right here, the Microns, for straight lines and what have you. And of course the Pitt pens. where it's needed. All this stuff was actually inked in with a Pitt pen. It's just the slimmest of outlines here. And as far as pen work goes, this is a 104 Hunt. Okay, so this is where we're going to start. The only thing comic book people need imaginations. So it's amazing what you can do when you're forced to think really fast. So as I erase this, I'll explain what I mean. When you set up a scene, the first thing you've got to do is get this image in your mind. Now, I thumbnailed these scenes out earlier, but I find myself changing them as I finally get to them. Go figure. Why does that happen? I have no idea. So we're going to erase. So I add all this goofy stuff in the background because that's always fun for me. There's the waitresses sending out food. Here's some goofy little guy laughing at him here. There's the stairway to heaven. So here's my eraser right here. So this pink eraser. Everyone knows about them. So let's take our little thing and swish it out of the way. What do they call this? Eraser dust? Whatever, right? Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this Hunt 104, which is a really good nib. I need a different kind of ink right here. This is my pen ink. It's much more watered down than the other stuff. The other stuff is thicker. So I spray some Windex because I think that's what it's made of to break down the ink, stir it up a little bit, and we're ready to fly. This is what I do every day, guys. You better like what you do because it's a lot of work. Nexus. Let's do Nexus first right here. The only thing I use for reference for this, because I've drawn for 40 years on everything you could imagine. But I wanted to look at ears. I've been kind of thinking about ears and how exactly I need to really look at them a little more closer here. So let's start with the ear. Again, this is a Hunt 104. And we're off to a start. These angles right here, you have to think about perspective of form when you do these here. And this, of course, is a very bizarre angle, so if there's any problem with how it looks, well, I'll just have to deal with it later on in case I make a mistake. Not that I make mistakes, being non-human and all that. Oh, I did tell you I was human. Never mind. My little scratch sheet there. These angles right here where they're talking from the side is a very interesting kind of an affair. Here's the back of the head. When you're drawing heads, there's so much involved in doing a head. One thing is, well, it's about no matter what angle you draw, remember that it's still a head. The same head you draw from the front view, you draw from another angle. But it's still the same thing. It hasn't changed. It's just changed the angle. That's all. And we got this kind of a duck's buttocks hair thing going on here. Now we're gonna ink in the maitre d'. My shoulder's in the way. Okay, good thing we have producers on the show right here, one of many. And I'm using this as a reference right here because that's the outfit I put him in. So I better be consistent here. These are the kind of things you make up. This is part of the fun of doing comics where your imagination can run wild. If you're not wild, find another way to do it. There's a little bit of overlap on the pants here. Maybe a couple wrinkles there. I'm not going to tell you who the maitre d' is, but he's a long-lost cast member of Nexus. So, doing this fashion stuff is part of the fun of comics. And there's no place else you can really do this right here. A couple wrinkles. Make sure you get the contours of the leg right. He's doing the contrapposto thing. And he's got some creases going on here. This is stuff you can obviously do with a brush. It would be better to do it with a brush, but you know, whatever, right? There's so many ways to go about doing this right here. And these are futuristic buttons that hold it together. I think they're just decorations. Uh-oh, that sounds like the flow hard. Hound dog, is that used? Shoulder pads have a very interesting way of interacting here. And if you haven't seen how they work, observe them, because all men's clothes are kind of based on that. How does this thing go here? Okay, so his sleeve works like this. And if we can pull this off without getting our hand in the ink. Hands, there's a reason I practice hands all the time. People are asking, why do you have to continually relearn or redraw the same things you've drawn 100 times? Well, believe me, if I could do it without it, if my memory was really that good, I wouldn't have to. So I'm trying to work on getting my hands a little more up to speed here. Oh, he's got gloves on, okay. So no nails on this guy here. Hound dog, what do you want? Oh, hound dog wants to go outside and chase bunnies. Hound dog, you have to wait until I'm done inking here, okay? This is a kind of a funny tie right here. It's a variation on some kind of a tie that I've seen somewhere. So now it's time to do the head. This is tough because I've got to make it symmetrical. So this is where you slow down. You slow down, you take your time, you try to get these contours as exact as possible. So, the mouth. He's smiling, so there, bottom and lower teeth going on there. The eyes. I think when I'm doing this kind of stuff, I really need to think about the whole eye socket more than a bunch of pupils and stuff. He's got a little more of a smile. He's got this tribal tattoo going on here. Again, some symmetry here. And of course, I invent little things like this. The producers say I'm 30 minutes in. My God, where does the time go? If you know, tell me, because I don't know where it goes. Okay, now it's time to get out the brush and black these things in here. There's a lot of little weak contours here that I think I can make work with. We're going to move the ink over here carefully. Dip it in, dip, 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 dip. And we're working with our number 8 brush right here. Let's go over here and try to punch up some contours here, okay? Now how do those blacks go? That's why you always have this right here. Okay, so this chair is going to be black, and his uniform is not going to be black. I don't know if I like that or not. Maybe okay, well, let's just go in here and see what happens, all right? This is a good sharp brush. This kind of stuff is very important. You can't dash this stuff off. You really got to think about how these folds might work. So I'm really doing nothing more than just kind of reinforcing some lines here. I'm actually more comfortable with this, with a bigger brush right here, so I don't know. Maybe we'll switch. So I've got to get this just right here. They got to look like they're real folds. I don't know if those look like real folds. Let's try some other modifying this stuff right here. Yeah, this brush is too thin for me. I mean, even the grip is too thin. Tighten some of these things up here. Clean up some of these edges that I've done here. Give this a bit more outline strength. And we're off to the races here. Now, hopefully you guys can see this okay here. Stripes. Maybe next week we'll try to finish Mona, but no guarantees. If you guys want inking, you're going to get inking. Let's go over to the bigger brush right here. So this is the number 10. Still comes to a very nice point, which is kind of the point of all this here. Nexus's hair has to come off like different highlight shapes. And now this hair, he's got his hair styled in a different way. I'm going to give him a different haircut eventually here, because everyone likes change in some way. I'm going to tilt this around right here so I can get the strokes that I want. And if I don't like the way it turns out, I just bring out the white out. Now this is all going to be, oh, this is too wide right here. We have to close in on the turtleneck here. This can swing around a little more cursive than I've done there. Sometimes I do this kind of stuff right here. I think it just kind of happened one day. It's a way to add motion to an object that's not moving. And to me, movement is emotion. So if you're wondering, why does Steve Rude, born 1956, do this right here? Well, you heard it straight from the dude's mouth. So yeah, this is, I actually feel much more comfortable with this big brush right here. It covers a lot more area. Who knows why I like this so much. You know, I got to tell you guys, back in when we were all growing up in the 60s, we would never see this kind of stuff right here. I mean, never. We were told how it worked, but we never saw it in action. This is a different day and age, and it's just, everything's changed. Now you have access to everything. I've told you in the past that when how do guys that we all want to emulate and be like today, from the 1850s, how did they learn without the thousands of things we have now? Well, here's what they did. They would, first of all, they would find a teacher, a really good teacher. And then they would go to that teacher, and the teacher would teach them. He looks a little fat. Senator Peel has this super foxy dress on here. Take your time when you're doing this stuff. Take as much time as you need to do it right. Okay, so we've got mostly black in here now. And don't forget, he's got white gloves on. So you guys remind me if I forget that, all right? Sometimes the ink likes to creep up on, there's this finger right here, and I don't like that feeling, so I have to go like this to it. It's like getting oil paint on your hands. I see these guys working with smudging with their fingers and stuff. No, I don't think so. And voila. A lot of times whatever the pen doesn't do, the brush will do. And where are we going here? Okay. Well, he's got little cufflinks, and those reflect the logo of his establishment. See, this stuff I can actually get done in the time that before your attention span goes right here, which I believe is about 30 seconds. It used to be 20 minutes. It's gone down. Okay, so what is it going to be in 30 years? 5 seconds? Boy, I tell you. I'm so glad I grew up when I did. No Game Boys, no internet, no cell phones, no nothing. We just had to, make do with something called imagination. Nowadays, when I go to the gym, every single dumbass on earth does more looking at their phones than they do exercising. It drives me nuts. Oh, and the little things in her ears. Everyone's got one. And I look at them, and sometimes I'll walk up to these big, tough weightlifting guys, and I'll say, why do you have that in your ear? Well, I need the music to inspire me. You mean just being here in real life doesn't do it, huh? Like you're in reality and you need more than that? Yeah, apparently. Okay, so we're closing in here. So how is this going to work right here? Try to get these contours right. And remember, whatever does not work. Is my shoulder still in the way, Mr. Producer? No. Good. Remember, I told you guys to tell me if my shoulder gets in the way, right? Mr. Producer should do all the work here. If a Mr. Producer sounds like a Mrs. instead of a Mr., that's because she's got a voice box simulator. She's actually, well, I'll let you guys decide that. So a few mistakes going on here. Yeah, even the dude makes mistakes. I forgot to draw these in pen, so I'm just going to put them in ink. I'm trying to keep the seams in there with a very carefully slimmed down line here. And how does this work right here? His boots, I'm sure his boots are going to be black, so let's black those in. This is called going from your knowns to your unknowns. They taught me this at the Calabasas school that I went to, the art school, that was so helpful in informing me about things, the things I still yet did not know. And I went there, and I'm happy to say that every hole I ever had in my head that I didn't know about was eventually plugged in with knowledge. Very, very glad. Teacher was Glenn Orbick, a really, really fantastic artist. So from here, there's nothing more really than this kind of inking in these things right here.
40 minutes in.
God, Mona took longer than this. And this is supposed to be simple. Yeah, right. Yeah. Where was I? I was talking about, oh yeah, dummies at the gym. Oh yeah, the ear things and the phones and oh my God. I mean, literally everybody has the damn phones and the earplugs. Everybody. There is no exception. I don't care if you're 100 years old. The only one that doesn't have those things in the gym is me, born in 1956. God, can I be that different? Well, never mind. You don't have to answer that. Okay, so we're going to reinforce a few lines here with a brush, and that will be our demo for today. This head needs to come back a little more. So yeah, always ear is a little bit big. You guys have been writing in a lot of letters. Very glad to see that. Sometimes I use this dry brush stuff and I'll put this kind of thing in here. Kind of a neat texture. So that's our demo for today. When you see me next time, this will all be done according to my black spotting right down there. We'll put this aside. I usually get to the letters first, but we're going to wait until now. Apparently another Mr. Producer, the one downstairs in the basement where we keep her, has been asking questions to the readers out there. This question is, if you could hold one sign at Nexus's return, what would it be? Or what would it say? Kevin Koch, my old friend Kevin Koch, wrote in some really cool stuff. One of them for this calls for hyperspeed. An old joke that you guys should know whether you're 10 or 80. What part of the scene pulled you in most? I guess she's talking about a specific scene. The crowd, the tech, or the character moments. My friend Kevin Koch sounded off once again, and he says, I love how distinct the Hell Pops are amid the chaos, and the way the definition of the crowd trails off in the large bottom panel. So good to hear that from my friend Kevin. How else would you like to see Nexus combined into our Saturday live streams? So some guy that lives in a black hole, 999, I definitely enjoy seeing him ink. I'm assuming that's me, born in 1956. Seeing him ink and talk about composing the pages, which I kind of did. More of that would be awesome. I don't use the word awesome because I wasn't born in the awesome time, but you guys use that word and everyone else does too. Also, any of the Nexus animation stuff and how it may differ in comics would be cool. Well, just know that in every given week, I have probably produced at least 5 entirely new scenes which are done in layout form, and then I try to animate them with the animation paper up there. And that goes on in between work, just as a way to blow off steam and work on something different from what I'm working on if I get too bogged down in what I'm doing with the comic book stuff. And the black hole continues right here. He goes, I'm interested in how Steve, that's me, 56, approaches drawing his characters and how it differs between the two mediums. It actually doesn't. Nexus in the comic books is the same thing as you'll see in the cartoon, given it's ever done. Mark 09. We know Mark 09. I love to see Steve's work in progress with his Return to Earth pages. Well, he's been satisfied today. I was wondering what size paper and imagery he's working on. For the live streams, I'd like to see more of his penciling, inking, lettering demos. Well, hopefully Mark has been happy, a smile on his face right now. The imagery, as I mentioned earlier, is 13 by 19, which is big. Big. See how big it is? That's a 9-inch head. That's a 13-inch page. Sorry, 19. Black hole's piping up again. Boy, we can't get enough of this guy. Apparently he's found a way to get out of his black hole. This live stream was pretty cool this past weekend, so if you missed it, you'll never know what he's talking about. Would you love to see him get work with the zip sheets? See him work with the zip sheets? Well, as soon as I find the Zipatone, I can do that. I'll also always appreciate the different takes on sketchbooks and seeing what Steve does with them. Okay, this week's comments. Those were questions, these are comments here. These are very good, actually. The feedback that I get on these is very helpful to me. And I'll tell you why when I read these things. You'll figure it out yourself. Scott Lewis says, I had to give myself permission to throw away terrible attempts. I became free and it gave me a clean slate to try again. This is something you see with me all the time. You see my aborted efforts. And when I screw up in something badly enough, I actually kind of start over for the most part. Or I just plow through it and try to get it done even with the mistakes. Kelly Mellings, thank you so much for this, Steve. It's often discouraging having to repeat things over and over and still not getting it. Knowing one of my heroes, that's me, 56, feels the same way is encouraging. Well, that's half the reason we do this live stream. What I try to do in this live stream is do the things that other people don't on their live streams. And that would be everybody plus their brother and Aunt Harriet's dog. 40 sketchbooks, what a treasure that must be. It's madness that we may never see them. We'll see them someday, maybe when I'm dead. Hell is Repetition from the, from the Stephen King novel, Storm of the Century. I look at repetition as the only way you're going to get good. And everyone that's ever mastered any kind of a craft knows that. Over and over and over and over and over again. For me, it's fun. I like new learning, and whatever I forget, I just try to pull out the same things over and over and refresh my memory, which is there somewhere. Artistic expression is like weightlifting. If you don't use it, you diminish. You don't lose it, and muscle memory tends to kick in. See how smart my fan's right here? But the weights you once lifted will be harder. This guy's obviously a lifter. One of the guys I meet at the gym and ask them why they wear those things in their ears. And also, like weightlifting, as we age, the ability can diminish. Constant practice means sharpened skills. But fortunately, there are always new things to learn and new tools to add to the toolbox to keep it interesting and fun. I may hire this guy for some PR work right here. Zipatone is cool. I'd like to see you use more of that. Me too. This guy is clarifying what steals like an artist means. I was getting on people last week for writing in and using that ridiculous aphorism, steal. If you're a great artist, steal it. It's ridiculous. I think this guy is explaining what it really means here. I think steal like an artist means just that. Find, understand, adapt. It's just a license for people that steal things outright, which you don't do. Otherwise, you're going to be exposed as an amateur and a guy that can't draw and someone who cheats. He goes, it's just a license for creatively bankrupt people to rationalize their inability to actually come up with anything on their own. There is misspelled. Which I which is why most art today is derivative, slop. Very few people are true creators. Well, okay, a bit harsh, but you know how it goes. Was there something on the back here? Oh, there is, printed on both sides. Well, this is about someone's grandma. We all had a grandma, right? My grandma gave me my first 2 drawing books, and one of them was Loomis's Fun with a Pencil. You can see it right behind me here on the shelf. I do them over and over from about the age 11, and I'll be 70 in November. Now there's a real devoted guy here, a real workhorse. No one works harder and more effectively than a dude. I guess that's me, 56. A work ethic to rival the late John Coltrane in jazz. I know something about Coltrane, and I know most of the jazz guys' names, so that's very flattering. Thank you very much. Eric Salazar said, I should do repetition drawings. I'm from Manila, and I like your work. Repetition is, if there was an easier way to do it, like if you just drew it once back when you were 11, like this guy here, and would remember it forever, life would be a breeze, wouldn't it? But the human brain doesn't seem to want to be that smart. So we have to practice and practice and practice. And if you like what you're doing, you don't think of it as practice. You just think of it as having more fun with a pencil, to quote the Loomis book. Comments from previous videos. In the early years of Nexus, who was your preferred inker for the title? Well, I didn't really have one. I guess I would be the one that did that. Always applaud Quantum Age Comics. We got a comic shop piping in here. Always a pleasure to watch. He says, my master at work. Well, I hope that's not me. I'm not a master. I'm a student. And this guy says I'm a Who fan as well. Do you guys know about the Who? Okay, well, it's just a travesty if you don't. The Who was one of the greatest rock bands